This is a user-friendly way of life. Whatever you're giving power to is giving power to you. Not only are you balancing the hemispheres of your brain, but you're also balancing your nervous system. Stop whatever's happening, take a few moments. Take a moment to be grateful, take a moment to breathe. I will give you some tools that you do, and it's gonna improve because you're improving.
Welcome back, Lynn. How are you?
I'm fabulous and grateful to be here, Nelson.
Thank you for coming back to Golden Hill. We always love your visits here and sharing your gifts.
Thank you.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about what you do.
So I'm a health and wellness coach, and I educate my clients with using dynamic tools such as yoga, Pilates, meditation, breathwork, Meridian Stretches to create a positive shift of awareness for life balance and optimal health.
Yes, I love your sharing. You've done some of our community months and community retreats, and the people that attend always love that. And I think it's information that would be helpful for people to understand and use in their daily life to help them deal with stress.
Absolutely.
I know some of the people that you work with are those in the community. I know you do some classes, and I think one is it an Indian reservation?
I actually work with a ministry, with Hopeful Hearts Ministry, and we work with survivors of abuse. So I do 2 sessions there where we do a just breathing class, and we do a yoga/wellness session at a community center. But other than that, I do privates. I've worked out of a lot of clubs, a lot of yoga places, and now I'm mostly doing it from my own Zen den, and then doing workshops and different things with people like you and other things like that.
Yeah. That's awesome. Tell us a little bit about how you got here in terms of getting into yoga and the work that you do.
So I was going through a very challenging time in my life, and I was always going to the doctors. And I was always on more medicine, and they couldn't find anything wrong, and it was just one more thing, one more pill, one more this. And at one point I'm having a panic attack at the doctor's office, and she tells me that that's the side effect of the anti-anxiety medicine that I was on. So, I kind of had the aha moment, like, there's got to be a better way. So then I started just really learning more about yoga and studying and got certified and just learning more and more about how we can heal ourselves.
That's awesome.
That we can be the healer and, not always having to go to the external to have somebody heal us. And it's literally like, getting behind the wheel of your life and taking your power back. It's been an amazing journey. I've been doing it for about 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's, you hear that many times, is that people have tried different things to try to figure out what they can do about their personal issues and their symptoms, and they've run out of options. And then they start opening up to these more, what some people call alternative healing, and find that it's something that actually helps them better than what they've tried before. So your story is definitely, one of those that illustrates that, and it's wonderful, and it led you to here.
Absolutely, and when people know that they can take their power back, that it's freedom, because they think, well, I'm always going to have this in my life. This is it. I suffer from this and this and this, and I'm like, no, you don't. You have symptoms, and I'm saying we all have anxiety and depression at times, or we all have stress, but it's not who you are. So then once you start raising awareness of, because the brain is connected to the thought, right? The thought connects to the brain, and then the feeling that the thought created affects your body, and the body doesn't care how you feel, it just reacts to the feeling, and that's science proven. So if you can choose some high vibrational thoughts, and that's where affirmations come in and things like that, and then, they're like, well, I don't feel that way. And I'm like, fake it till you make it. You know what I mean? Because once you start raising that vibration, it's a law of attraction. And that's science too. What you're putting out there, wanting, and then what you're feeling, you're bringing it into. It's electric, magnetic, and it affects your whole life. Not just the mental, the physical, the emotional, every part of your personality and every aspect of your life. With your relationships, in your job, with your health. So it's really a neat thing, but you got to turn inward, and that's the path of yoga. That's one of the limbs of yoga.
Right.
And ultimately, the 8th limb is just being in bliss, and everybody wants to be in their bliss state. And that's why addictions are so prevalent, because people want to be happy and at peace and feeling, good, but they don't want to do the internal work, and it's turning inward. Right. That's where all your answers are.
Tell me a little bit about what Kundalini Yoga is about, and how did you get into Kundalini Yoga?
Right, so Kundalini is one of the all-encompassing forms of yoga that really is, the Kundalini is the awakening within us. If you think God or energy, the universe, is everywhere, it's also within us. That's kind of where the Kundalini is. You're raising that energy, and it's kind of like they compare it to like the serpent, which lies dormant at the base of your spine. And then once you start to move the energy, because that's what we're doing with the prana, life force, and some of the contractions, you're moving it up your spine. So what's happening is it starts to vibrate, and it starts moving and clearing, to ultimately going all the way up to the crown of your head, where you can be in your bliss state. But like I said, everybody wants to be in their bliss state, but we have a body, and it's the only thing that we have, so we have to take care of it. And also, science has proven that the body lives in the unconscious, okay? And it's based on the past and our belief systems. Well, some of those belief systems might be a little bit outdated. So if you want things to change, you literally have to start changing the way you think.
And feel.
Because ultimately you're going to feel. So if you go for those high vibration, because everything is frequency, and you keep choosing those things, then all of a sudden you match the frequency to the reality that you want, you're going to get it.
It's what they call alignment, right? We always think about when our spiritual, mental, emotional is in alignment, we could actually achieve the physical manifestation and desires that we're seeking. So it's getting all of that in place in order for us to fulfill what we are asking for to present itself in our reality.
And also because you're here on purpose, okay? And I say, while you're on this planet, you're just passing through, right? You might get married, you might have a job, you might have a child, so on and so forth, but it's not why you're here. And that's why, you see people, you might have a lot of money, or you might be gorgeous, you work out like crazy, but you're not happy because they don't know their purpose. And once you do that, and your purpose, to me, one of them is to know who you are, so that you can be the best version of you. And then when you're happy, you're going to help other people be happy too, because you're going to be kinder. And when you're kind to yourself, ultimately you're kinder to others too.
Yeah, I love that. I love the fact that, a lot of times we lose our sense of purpose. And I think that is the most powerful way to really get in alignment, is if you find that spiritual purpose, your mission in life. And then I also think of it as your North Star, your GPS system. Once you have that purpose, then all your decisions and everything that you look for in life is in alignment with that. Therefore, your nervous system and your brain sort of gears up, and when they encounter things, they pick up those things that are in alignment with that. So therefore, your reality becomes truly a reality that is in alignment, and you are more likely to manifest, all your dreams and what you are here to do.
Right, and then when you also realize that by doing so, you're helping others, because there is no separation. So you're on purpose, but it's got to start with you. But we've been taught to look on the external all the time. We're not taught to turn inward. And so, kids don't have an ego. They don't know what that's all about. They don't judge. We've learned all those things. So we have been programmed to judge, so that, is he better than me? Is she better than me? Your ego is always going to fight you too, saying you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not young enough, da 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 da. So there's a lot of things that we just have to get clear about. So staying on the purpose and knowing that if you look at frequency and everything is vibration, and it's all vibration, right? And you're going to feel that energy. You can walk into a room and feel the energy, whether it's good or not. Then you know that you don't have to react to that energy. You just have to remember who you are. But people don't know who they are.
Right.
And that's the journey. Who am I?
They don't know
who am I
they
behind
are.
the mask?
Yeah, and I think they don't know who they are, but also they have never been taught how to self-regulate. That a lot of people, especially if you're in the survival state, you're always in this hyper-vigilant, reactive state, and it's often very difficult to self-regulate when you're in that hyper-vigilant state, because you're just going to spontaneously do these things that you develop as a coping strategies when you were a child. So many times that it becomes out of your control in a sense, because it's doing things without thought or ability to decide.
Right. Automatic.
Right.
And then you learn to be the thinker behind the thought. Wow.
Yeah. So
that's a big one.
How does one do that?
Okay, well, there's a lot of different ways. First of all, like I said, when I started on my path to healing, I used a lot of affirmations, and I still do. And that was one of the ways, and then some different breathing techniques. Again, because you talk about we're so automatic and we're so reactive. And again, the body's just reacting to that feeling. So I teach people how to balance their autonomic nervous system from that fight or flight to the rest and digest. So parasympathetic to parasympathetic nervous system. So because most of us are always in fight or flight. So when you're calm, you can think better. You take your time. You're not in a rush. And so when you're in that state of parasympathetic, where you're in rest and digest, that's when you can heal, and that's when you create. So we can do different yoga postures, but it's basically just connecting to all your parts, not just doing the body, but the mind is involved, your emotions are involved, your higher self is involved, and ultimately your physical is involved, because it gets dumped. This is just a dumping ground here, this body.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, I've been and experienced your wonderful classes, and I remember that some of the practices definitely go over all of those realms in terms of the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. And even when you go through the chakras, there is a posture, there is a feeling or emotion, and there's a thought or something you want to, like you said, a positive affirmation. And then there's other things like color and maybe the spiritual essence of that particular chakra. So it's truly physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. Even if you go through, all of the different chakras, each of them have correlations to those things.
Well, they're all connected. And if you think about your first chakra, which is really about being grounded and rooted, okay? That's what you did as a baby. You learn how to crawl, you learn how to walk, so on and so forth. And then you get into the second chakra where you start changing, you go into puberty and stuff like that. So they're all connected with different elements like earth and water. And then you get into here where it's more of your power, your confidence. This is all physical in the material world.
Yes.
Then when you get to the heart chakra, which is ultimately your place of healing and unconditional love, then you can get into the ethereal, then you can get into the cosmos. That's when you get into more of the spirit. But if you can't come to the heart chakra, you're never really going to know who you are. You're just going to be all on the planet, in the body, with the ego, really.
Right.
This is the game changer right here, the heart center.
Yes. And that is the point. And I love how you said that, because I think what we have to understand is if our lower chakras are not healed, we don't feel safe.
That's it.
We don't feel like we're able to create what we want to do.
Right.
We don't have the will and ability to do the things that we feel is our mission. Then we don't activate those lower chakras, and we can never access the heart chakra and open it up to be able to connect with the upper chakras, which is the higher alignment, understanding how we fit into our spirituality and understand how we can express ourselves authentically. So it's key that we work on those lower chakras.
Absolutely.
In order to open up the rest.
That's it. It's a practice. That's why they call it a practice. So what I say to a lot of my clients is pay attention on your thoughts, because we have 60 to 70,000 thoughts that are in the unconscious, and most of them are negative and repetitive. So I always say, if you feel yourself going down that rabbit hole, if you feel yourself, you're sad, you're mad, you're angry, you're stressed, you're anxious, don't shove it away. Acknowledge what you're feeling, but then I'll give you some tools that you can raise your vibration. Again, with the breathing, with the hand gestures, with the postures, with the sounds, to get you in the highest vibration. So I'll use an acronym like STOP. Stop whatever's happening. Take a few moments. Take a moment to be grateful. Take a moment to breathe. Boom. S.T.O. Observe how you're feeling now. Are you in a higher vibration? Are you back in your true self? Perfect. P for proceed. S.T.O.P. Or SOTA. Stop, observe, detach from that, and then awaken. We want to be awake.
Right.
You want to be awake. You want to know the truth. It's time to know the truth.
Yeah, and it's definitely a time for all of us to awaken. We need the world to awaken.
Yeah, you awake, I'm awake, he's awake, she's awake. We're raising the vibration.
Right. And what does that mean for you when we were talking about raising the vibration?
Well, again, it's coming from a place of love. So if you know love is who you are, because we overuse those words. I love my shirt, I love your car, I love the, da-da-da-da-da. It's like, well, no, love at its deepest, most truest self is who we are. Some people can call it God. Some people can call it present moment. Some people can call it, highest vibration, soul. But if you understand that that is who you are and nobody can take that from you, I'm already feeling better about myself. Because regardless of what somebody is saying or doing to me, I can choose to come from my place of love, and that means I'm going to make a better decision for myself, and again, ultimately for others too.
To me, that's, and we've talked about this before, that's the ultimate healing tool, is our heart and unconditional love. Because when you look at it from the physiologic standpoint, like you said, you can't access that higher realm in connection with divinity until you feel that sense of safety, being loved and accepted. And once you're able to do that, your heart chakra opens up, you're able to receive, and not only receive other people's help and all of that, but your own self-love can grow and you become a powerful human being.
And that forgiveness is another way, because we always look for excuses why we act the way that we do. That person did this or this happened and did. And then you hold on to that for your whole life. Well, you're causing your own dis-ease. So when you understand how important forgiveness is, that's going to set you free. And it could even be yourself. You've done something that was, we're having a human experience. Forgive it. The whole Ho'oponopono prayer.
I love that.
I'm sorry, please forgive me. I love you, thank you.
Yes.
And it's such a good one to do before you go to sleep at night too, because you're just clearing everything. And I remember Wayne Dyer would go, you're just marinating in a sea of love.
Right, and those words have specific frequency that helps us reach that relaxation, that parasympathetic response.
Yeah, because every time your tongue is touching the roof of your mouth, you have 84 meridians on the roof of your mouth. So different things, like we'll do some sounds maybe in a minute, and it's tapping into those meridians that it's affecting all the brain, it's affecting all parts of your body. And so even in the Sanskrit words too, the words that were formed are tapping the certain meridians at the roof of your mouth that are going to affect your chakras.
Right. Let's talk a little bit about that, in terms of the energy centers. So if you were telling somebody who doesn't know anything about this, what is a chakra?
Okay, well, I would say the easiest way to understand it is like meridians are like roads on the map, and you're the map. They're all over you, okay? And every time they cross, they form a chakra, or a chakra. You can say it either way, okay? And what happens is more meridians cross, it starts to really, everything is energy and vibration, it starts to spin. So the meridians are like, they have life force. They're called nadis in the Sanskrit word. And they carry the life force, and you have, life force is everywhere, but we also have those in our subtle body. So you can't see it right now in an x-ray. Maybe, in future times they'll be able to see those nadis inside of us. But anyways, we have the main meridian up along the column, the spinal column, which is, I always say Shushumna, but it's Shumana. You know what I mean? But Shushmana, that's what it is. And then you've got the other two, the Ida and the Pingala.
Yes.
So one is the sun and one is the moon. And they actually coil, they wrap around your spinal cord. And that's why a little bit maybe why they call it the serpent that lies dormant for the Kundalini, because it's coiled around there, okay? Right. And so when, like for example, there are 108 meridians that form up your heart chakra. So our main chakras that we identify with that affect us mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually are along our column, our spinal column, and the main meridian. So they start spinning clockwise. You want your chakras to be balanced. You want them to spin at the right vibrational speed. So not too fast and not sluggish. And that's why when you align yourself and you connect to the sum of all your parts, you're unlocking those blockages. So right. Whatever's blocking you, that's creating dis-ease ultimately, we're just unlocking it. Because again, ultimately the goal is to be in our state of bliss. Right. So they all line up. There's at the base of your spine, then between the sex organ and the navel, there's the second one. And then the navel to like just below here at the ribs is the solar plexus, your heart, your throat. This is called the third eye, and then the crown chakra.
Yes.
Yes.
So it's these practices help to unblock anything that is preventing the flow within the chakras. And when you unblock it, you actually increase your ability to have wellness and health.
Absolutely.
Yeah, same thing with the meridians, except the meridians can also connect different parts of the organs systems. That's and true. Different parts of your body. Yeah. So when you unblock one part of that meridian, you could actually affect something that's distal to that area, which is, something that many people don't know about.
No. So if you've gone to acupuncture, the acupuncturist is going to put those needles all over you, and that person is tapping into those meridian lines. So they're like, oh, I'm working on your gallbladder. Oh, I'm working on your anxiety. Oh, I'm working on your low back pain. That kind of thing, because they're all over the place.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's many techniques to unblock it. Like you mentioned, acupuncture is one. Mm-hmm. Acupressure, some of the yoga stretches that you are going to demonstrate in a little bit is another.
Because these fingers, these hand gestures that they call the mudras, some people call it yoga in their hands, that's tapping into every cell. It's the brain and the body. And they all represent different planets and different meanings. So one of the things that I'll do, like let's say I was nervous and I needed to calm down for a minute, I could do some alternate nostril breathing. I could also just do Satanama. Satanama.
So that's the mudra.
Yeah.
And then the mantra
is the sound.
The sound.
Exactly. So I do a lot of combination. I might be doing a meridian stretch where we're going to use our energy locks, the root lock and the abdominal lock, and then we might do a sound as well. We're just getting the all-inclusive. The thing is that that's a lot for somebody who's never learned it before, but that's again why we're calling it the practice. You just keep showing up on the mat.
Right. And it's not necessary that everything has to be done perfectly and all at once.
Absolutely not. And it's not even what you're accomplishing, it's what you're letting go of. As Deepak Chopra said, you're already perfect, whole, and complete. To be whole is to be holy, and to be holy is to be healed. We're already whole. Right. We've just forgotten it.
Exactly.
We got a little distracted along the way.
And removing those blocks to that connection and that remembrance is the healing that will take place.
Yeah, and ultimately, the piercing of the veil, even with that Om symbol, that's, it's just, that veil of illusion. So that we can be free and be in our bliss state no matter what's going on, and just make this world a better place. We raise our vibration, everything else gets raised.
Right. So can you share with us maybe some of your clients and some of the benefits that they've had doing your classes in Kundalini Yoga?
Sure. I mean, a lot of people have benefited from the breath work. Well, all, the combination of postures and different sounds and breathing techniques. People with anxiety, people with depression. A lot of my clients, their blood work's coming back perfect. You know what I mean? And so it's really encouraging to me that to see people make changes, it just, it just means everything to me, just to ultimately, whatever you're giving power to is giving power to you. So I will give you some tools that you do, and no matter what you're working on, it could be a relationship, it's gonna improve because you're improving. You know, you're doing the work, and the work is gonna work for you. And your body will meet you where you're at. And that's another neat thing to know too. You just do your best, and that's it. And I'm just gonna guide you. I'm just literally just guiding you to do it. You're doing the work. And it's like you say, it's not about standing on your head or touching your toes. It's not even about that. It's about the connection. You're connecting to the sum of all your parts.
Right, so you're basically guiding people in these techniques, and you're facilitating their inner healing. So it's connecting them back to their innate healing abilities.
Connecting is the main thing. People could be seated. You don't even have to get on the floor. You know, some people can't get up and down off the floor. You know, you could be doing it lying in bed. You know what I'm saying?
This could be something that maybe the elderly can do it, and children.
Anybody.
And people maybe with handicaps as well.
Absolutely. Chair yoga, that's very popular. I've done yoga in the water too. It's awesome. Yeah. It's just connecting. Yoga is yoking. It's the union of mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual. And that's it. Everybody can do it. Doesn't matter how old you are. Doesn't matter what your story is. It will change your life for the better. 100%. So everybody that comes, you got to be ready for it though, because you got to do the work. It's you're doing the work. I'm just guiding you.
So what do you think the biggest challenges are in regards to having more people or more of our society take on these practices for their self-healing?
I think we just have to educate people. I think we just need to get out there and let our voices be heard. It is time. You know, this is, you know, not just the voice, but it's also about speaking truth and coming from a place of love. And so I'm just, you know, I like it or don't like it, I'm going to speak the truth. It's coming from a place of love. And we need to just get out there with more like social media or, you know, advertising. More people need to know that it's okay. It's, you know, we're not doing anything wrong. We're doing something right for everybody. And everybody deserves it. Doesn't matter what your past is. Because, you know, as Dr. Joe Dispenza would say, if you're not in love with the vision of your future, you're stuck with the memory of the past. And he's a brilliant man.
Yes, I love his work too. It incorporates all the things that we just discussed in terms of the alignment of the spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical.
And if you want change, it's going to happen right now. And whatever you do right now is going to create your future.
Right. I think we definitely agree on that concept that for us to help usher in this new way of healing, we have to take some time and some effort to do education, sharing information, and making sure that people know what options there are available to them.
So we were talking about communication earlier, and it is like for us to communicate where they can understand simply, like it's not complicated. You see what I'm saying? It's because people go, oh, yoga, like, you know, oh, it's not my thing. I'm thinking, well, what do you mean it's not your thing? You've got all those parts of you. And how do you connect that? And who's the thinker behind the thought?
Right.
You know, is it your higher self or is it your ego?
So tell me a little bit about your concept of higher self versus ego.
So the higher self, like I say, that's love. That's just love. That's, you know, if you want to call it soul, spirit, I call it love because, you know, some people might not call it God. And that's okay because it's a frequency. So that frequency is to me the higher self. And when you're in alignment with that, that's where the peace, the joy, the serenity, the support, you're always going to feel that. But we have external, you know, things that disrupt us. And then we go back into the old self, into the pattern, okay? Into the unconscious. And we got to wake up again and say, wait a minute, stop. Let's connect to the higher self. So, and not to confuse the lower chakras to the higher chakras, because you said that earlier. They're all important,
right?
Okay? But so that's not that. And the difference is our higher self is that state of love.
Yeah, I also think about the higher self and the different parts of the brain. In regards to the left brain, like we talked about, has to do with protection and survival and your ego identification. So the egoic mind is connected with that survival, that left brain.
And that's the sun side.
Right.
Yeah,
But
logical.
the
We've
logical,
become so
rational side.
logical
Exactly.
that we've become analytical. And the analytical mind will block the conscious to the unconscious.
Right.
Yeah.
But then when you look to the right side, and that right side is, I see the interface between the right and left as the heart, the brain. In terms of even if you look from the lower chakras and the upper chakras, you can think about the lower chakras are based on the left brain decision making. Making sure that you have your needs met, that you're protected, and that you are able to do what you want to do and have some free will. But you are not able to do that and connect to the higher until that heart is healed and it's open. But when you get to the upper chakras, you are able to connect more with your authentic self, your divinity, your true purpose, and that is housed, or you can sort of look at it, the right brain basically facilitates, it's housed in that aspect of our nervous system and our anatomy, is that the right brain filter allows that connection with the divinity, the unknown, that unity consciousness. It's more of the feminine energy in terms of
the moon and the creative.
And connecting with emotion and your intuition.
Yeah.
So it's sort of getting a balance of both sides in order for you to have true wholeness and wellness, is being able to self-regulate with the heart and your nervous system in order to balance between the right and left brain, the upper and lower chakras, the masculine and feminine energies.
Yeah, and some people, you know, and I'll remind them, like, so if the right hemisphere of the brain affects the left side of the body, well, if something's going on with the left side of the body, I'm going, okay, what's going on behind the scenes?
Yes.
You know, it might be the hip, but it might be more than that. You know, it might be something, you know, are you tapping into your creative side? You're not creative enough, or this or that. Like, your body is telling you something. So it's not to fear, it's to pay attention. If there's something always chronically wrong with your right side, so the left hemisphere affects the right side of the body, which is that sun logical side, what's going on with that? You know, is there a male presence in your life that's affecting you? Like, who's your pain in your butt? You know what I mean? Like,
literally.
You got your boss is your boss is, you know, type of thing like that. And that's really good to know too. You know, because sometimes it's not just physical, but it landed in the physical because of your emotional state, right? You might have a perfect life, except you can't stand your boss. That's going to cause some dis-ease.
It's always interesting to me that a lot of the things we experience in life, whether it's an accident that results in an injury, could be stemming from a root disturbance in the psychospiritual world. Meaning, for example, somebody who has a car accident, or somebody who falls down some steps and they break their hip. And what could that be, coming from? Could it be that your soul is telling you to slow down and to take some time, and it forces you to do that by creating a specific event that leads you to actually pay attention to it. Sometimes that happens in our life, that we have these challenges and we don't know why it happens, but there could be a higher realm root cause to that, in terms of it's asking you to change something in your life.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Some people say the curse becomes the blessing. You got to trust, you got to understand, and it's coming back to doing the work, because otherwise you become the victim.
Right.
You know, this happened, why me, my we? But stop, because it happened. And it's not like, you know, nobody really, like, quote unquote deserves that. You didn't deserve it, but you went through it. And now look at you now. If you've done the work, the internal work is going to change you. You're not going to be that person that you were. Not always. Sometimes people don't learn from it. They keep repeating the same thing. One thing after the other thing after the other thing, because they didn't get the memo. They didn't understand it's happening for your highest good.
Yes, you always have to look at the silver lining. What is that lesson that is to be learned from that particular
Right.
challenge.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's always opportunities for us
Yeah.
to up-level ourselves.
Yeah, and in A Course in Miracles, they say life is a series of course corrections. So you're always editing. So if I say, well, you're the story writer, it's your story. You can edit it at any time. You're the main character in your story. You're the director of your story. What's your story? Every day. Every day. It's a new day. What's my story today?
Right.
That's powerful.
It's powerful if you become aware of that, because otherwise we're living the same story of our past.
Absolutely. You get up on the same side of the bed every morning. You take the same way to work every morning. You're not doing anything different, and you get stagnant. And just like water that doesn't run, it becomes stagnant. You got to do something different. You got to change it up. You got to move. You know, you got to be in the flow.
Right.
Yeah. Otherwise, you just get stagnant, and that's going to cause depression.
Yes.
Yes.
So let's look at maybe demonstrating some of these things that can help people open up their chakras, achieve balance.
So there are certain breathing techniques that I really like. For example, let's say I was feeling out of alignment. Maybe I was feeling stressed or anxious or whatever, or I don't feel good. So basically, when you think about breathing in, you're breathing in life force. You're breathing in. You could do purifying light. You could do healing light of love, or just new beginning, whatever resonates with you. But it's a good intention. And then what I'll do, I'll show it to you if you want. Then I'm going to retain my breath, and I'm going to start pumping my navel. Retaining. It's almost like you see animals do that, and then they'll regurgitate. They're going to get that stuff out. Like the cats will go out and eat the grass just to make them sick. Mm-hmm. So when I'm exhaling whatever toxic thing that I don't want, whatever waste or whatever negative energy or whatever fear or whatever it is. That's a really good little technique to do if you want to get rid of something that is just causing dis-ease. Do you want to try it?
Yes, I would love to.
Okay. So, always paying attention on how you're sitting, where you're planting your feet and you're coming up to the crown of your head. And I like to bring my arms up, but you don't have to. But if you do, we can interlace our fingers and just bring our index fingers up. And this actually represents you and the higher power. And if you think about putting air into a balloon, it's going to expand, right? Well, most people are just breathing from the upper chest. I want you to breathe in to the belly, then the ribs, then the heart. And if you have more, you can even bring it up into your head. But for most of us, it's just going to do the belly, ribs, chest. Once you get to the top of your breath, you're going to retain the breath and just start pumping. And this, in the physical, is the seat of physical health, right here. The navel point is your seat of physical health. That's what they call it. So go like this.
Okay.
And then you're going to inhale through your nose, the belly, ribs, heart. Hold it. And then pump the navel. And you keep going. You're increasing lung capacity as well. And really building the immune system. And then when you're ready, I'm going to let it out. I'm going to bring my arms down. And I'm visualizing, Nelson, that I'm bringing the energy up, which I am, and getting it out, okay? And then if you really wanted to power it up, you could use what we call those energy locks, which is the root lock at the base of your spine. You contract like as if you had to use the restroom, so that's the squeeze up here, so where you're conserving energy. And then when I'm breathing out, I'm going to add my abdominal lock. So I'm going to help it bring it up and bring it out. Okay. They're called bandhas. They're called bandhas in yoga.
Yes.
They're energy locks. So we do stuff like that too. I could do, for example, especially when people are not used to breathing, I'll do like a bunny breath, like, and so basically your breath in is kind of giving you energy, and the breath out is kind of calming you down in a sense.
Yes.
Okay? So that's just basic, breathing where you are full breath, complete breath. So one of the breathing techniques that, again, works really well is like an alternate nostril breathing. Because not only are you balancing the hemispheres of your brain, but you're also balancing your nervous system, the fight or flight to the rest and digest.
Yes.
Do you want to learn that one?
Sure.
Okay. So basically, we're going to be sitting nice and tall again without being rigid. Just let your head float light on the neck. I like to use my right hand. The left palm can be up, whatever. And we're going to be gazing right here again at the third eye, so you're welcome to close your eyes. And when you're breathing in, to keep you in the moment, I either invite my client to count to 4 or use the mantra that I like, which is Sata Nama, and I'll be saying it in my mind. And what it means is birth, life, death, and rebirth. So we're rebirthing right now because I said everything happens in the present moment. So you're going to place the right thumb over the right nostril, and you're going to inhale the mantra, Sata Nama, or 1, 2, 3, 4 on the left now. Take the next 2 fingers of the right hand and close the left side and exhale on the right. Sata Nama. Now stay here and inhale on the right, counting, or Sata Nama. Close and exhale left. Sata Nama. Inhale on the moon side. Close the left. Exhale on the sun side without collapsing your spine. Face muscles relaxed. One more time. Inhale on the right. And exhale on the left. Sa-ta-na-ma. Let's do one more round. Inhale on the left. Smooth, even, rhythmic breathing. And exhale on the right. So we exhale to switch. And then inhale right. Mentally repeating the mantra for change, and exhale slowly, smoothly, and rhythmically. Now just become the witness and notice how you feel. So release the hand. Now you feel everything's just calm. Everything's even. Everything is back. Your body is working like a fine-tuned car. Just like that.
It's beautiful. It's focusing your attention on that sensation of that air and that breath.
The breath that gives you life, that carries the oxygen, and again, life force, prana, energy. Let's say you're really stressed out. I would just be inhaling on the left. It's called moon piercing breath, because that's your calm side, the energy of the moon, in on the left, out on the right. In on the left, out on the right. Instead of staying there and inhaling, then switch, exhale, stay. No, just in on the left and out on the right. That's moon piercing breath. Really good technique. Another one too, I love this one. I really love them all, to be honest with you. They're so effective. It's called box breathing.
Yes.
You've heard of that.
Yes.
And you know, you could go a little bit longer than 4, but in my mind's eye, I'm actually looking at a box. So you inhale for 4, then you hold for 4 counts, you exhale for 4, and then you hold. So in, hold, exhale, hold. Do you want to try a couple rounds?
Yes.
Let's do 4 rounds and we'll count them on our fingers.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Inhale for 4. Hold. Drawing the box. Exhale slow. Hold. Next finger, inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Next round, in, draw your box. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Last round, breathe in slowly, nice soft belly breath. Holding. Exhale. And hold. And notice how you feel.
Definitely calm.
Yeah. And then I often like to just rub my hands together. This is a really good way to calm and balance the male and the female here. So you're balancing the brain. Good?
Yes.
Okay. So when we do breath of fire, which is a big part of the Kundalini practice, again, affecting, there are so many benefits to this. But one of the ones I love, they call it a Kriya, and a Kriya is an action. We're doing it for this action. And we're doing the sun breath Kriya with the breath of fire to eliminate any negativity, any mental, physical, or emotional blocks. You're literally just airing them out. And not only that, but you're also boosting your immune system, and it's for your heart chakra.
Beautiful.
Yes. And so it's done only on the left side, because sometimes with that right side of the brain can hold some negativity in there, and we're just diffusing it through the left nostril. And so you're just breathing in and out on the left, and it's a powerful breath. You're just breathing from here, so I might engage the root lock and the abdominal lock. So your belly's going to pull in when you're... So it's like, exhale, take your right finger, so you're going to breathe in and out on the left. You're going to take your left hand, and this is another mudra, where your left thumb is going right on the ring finger. On the ring finger. Ring. Yeah, right on the
ring finger.
That's your ring finger.
This finger.
Yeah, no, that's your pinky.
Oh, wait. This is the ring finger.
Yeah, but go right on the nail where the thumb puts it into action. Go
Okay.
the thumb on top of this nail. There it is. Yeah. And so that's also representing of the sun or Uranus, and this is new energy, creativity, vitality. So this is great, like if you're feeling, you're getting under the weather, and I say, don't say, I don't want to get sick, because your body's paying attention to your thoughts, right?
Right.
It hears it. We're like, perfect health is my divine right. That could be one of my affirmations. So I'm here, I've got my index here, I'm gazing at my third eye again, and I'm going to be breathing in and out. We'll just do it for a minute.
Okay.
You can work up to 3 minutes. So again, you've got your locks engaged, and you're like this. Out, in, out, in. Keep going. So again, you're aerating your entire system. Bringing oxygen to the brain and every cell, you're cleansing. So anything that just needs to dissolve is happening right now. So from out of the dark and into the light. We'll do it for another 15 seconds. Really building some heat. Okay, beautiful. So let's say you've done that for about a minute, up to 3 minutes. How we're going to finish it now, Nelson? Are you ready, Nelson?
Yes.
Okay, you're going to interlace your fingers here. And your thymus gland is right above the heart. Yeah? So we're going to bring it here. We're going to breathe in a complete breath. So I might imagine an opening through the crown of my head, which purifying light is filling me up. So I'm going to inhale my full breath. Hold your breath and start to try to pull your fingers apart. For as long as you can, you're holding your breath, you're pulling for the immune system. And then when you're ready to exhale, I'm going to let it out again through my mouth, because I'm letting go of any dis-ease, any spent energy, and I'm going to go and let it all out. Just let it all go. Stuff like that. So you would do that 4 times. Okay. And it's called the sun breath Kriya.
That's nice.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
for the heart chakra, the immune system. Yeah.
What's the difference between breathing in through your nose and breathing in through your mouth?
Okay, so again, you want to filter the air, and it's recommended that you breathe in through your nose. We're not meant to breathe from our mouth. We're meant to chew and eat with the mouth. So I don't know all of the science behind it, but I do know that you should be breathing in through your nose. And when I'm breathing in through my nose, and then I'm breathing out through my nose, that's when I'm sending the breath that I brought in, the healing light, whatever you're visualizing. Maybe I'm sending it to my heart, maybe I'm sending it to my hips, maybe I'm sending it to every cell of my body. I'm sending it somewhere inside of me. Maybe I'm sending it to every cell, okay? Whereas if I'm breathing out through my mouth, I'm getting rid of that junk. So that's when I breathe out through my mouth. But I'm always breathing in and out through my nose. In through my nose, I should say.
So when you breathe out of your mouth, a lot of it is releasing and removing perhaps toxins, and not only physical, but emotional, mental, and spiritual.
Blocks.
Yes.
Yeah. And so again, you can use the root lock and the abdominal lock to bring it up and bring it out. And just like when you're doing the breathing and we're doing a pose, for example, well, I'm going to get them to squeeze, and I'll say rectum, sex organ, navel. And the reason I say that is because I'm like, okay, well, what's supporting you in this pose? They're like, well, my core, or my this, or my that. I'm like, well, where is that? And they go, well, here. I'm like, well, where's here? No, it's a lift up to the pelvic floor. Rectum, sex organ, navel. Those are the locks. There's a chin lock too. We don't use it as much, but that's bringing it up. And so when I'm doing a pose, for example, like let's say I did a meridian stretch for anxiety and depression, but it's really also for cerebral spinal fluid and small intestine, right? What's for upper body? Well, while I'm doing my resistance stretch, I'm going to send my breath up here with my energy locks. I might even do a sound. Since the arms are associated with the heart chakra, I might do yum, yum. And a lot of people have used this one for anxiety and depression. So, and you feel it, you're stretching and strengthening in one of the safest, most effective ways, and it's just prayer arms. Put your hands like this and just feel. You breathe in, press your hands together, and as you exhale, draw the elbows in, exhale, like this. You feel that in the shoulders, in your biceps, in your neck. And then if you were using those energy locks, you're channeling, you're really moving that energy all the way up. And then you could reverse it. You could breathe in, and then push apart. Yum. You're pushing, try to keep your shoulders down. So when you're doing the M sound, you would put the tongue to the roof of the mouth, because again, it's vibrating those meridians on the roof of the mouth, which is affecting the vagus nerve, which is affecting your brain, balancing the brain, getting your sinuses and bronchial tubes. Sound is beautiful. I love doing the M sounds, like the lom, vom, rom.
We were just talking about that earlier. Is not only your words, but yes, your vocal toning and your voice can be a healing tool.
Vibration.
Right.
It's vibration. And all of those sounds are going to stimulate the vagus nerve too, which is just like putting your finger on that anti-stress button. And you know what the vagus nerve does. Oh my gosh, so many things for trauma and insomnia, and checks in with all your organs and regulates. It's the largest nerve of the body, right?
Right, and it's also connects a lot of your organ systems, and is the information highway of whether or not your nervous system is telling the rest of your body whether it's safe or unsafe.
There you go.
Right.
And that's why it taps into that parasympathetic.
Yes.
Yes, it puts you into the parasympathetic.
So that is one of the key practices that I always tell patients or people that I'm working with is really look into vagal nerve exercises. Anything that can activate the vagal nerve will help you relax.
Absolutely. Laughter.
Yes. Laughter, play. Adult play, I always encourage adult play. And many of us as adults don't take time for that.
Oh, we got to let our inner child come out and play.
Right, so definitely laughter. There's even something called laughter yoga.
Oh yeah. That would be really, really good.
Yes.
That would be awesome. Also, if you're crossing opposite arm, that stimulates the vagus nerve too?
Yes, they call it cross-body movements. So they have cross-body marching that you can use, and also crossing your eyes. Because your body can tell, doing specific postures can tell your nervous system whether it's safe or unsafe.
Yeah.
So if you're taking control and doing specific postures, whether it's movement of extremities or your eyes, then you are actually taking control of your nervous system.
There's a meridian stretch. There are 16 meridian stretches that we work with, and it's a guy by the name of Bob Cooley, okay? And he devised this system. And it's really cool because, again, it affects all parts of your personality. That's what the meridians are all over you, right? So I might be doing a crossover here. Well, it's for the colon meridian. Oh, but it's for fear and OCD. Oh, it's for your heart. It's for digestion. It's for vertigo. It's for, what else? Parasites, toxic poisoning, but it's for upper body. So, and I can add a sound. So you're just ramping it up on so many levels here. And it's just one move. And that's what I like about it, because I'm giving you tools in your toolbox. You don't have to do it all at once. A minute here, a minute there, a minute there. Again, you're making a deposit into your health and wellness account. It's like putting a drop in the bucket, and that bucket adds up.
Yeah.
So if you take a minute, let's say you've been working, all day, you're at your computer, whatever. Get up every hour, do a liver meridian stretch. We're working on our low back. We're working on anxiety. We're working on the heart. We're working on the immune, things like that. Right. They're really awesome. And everybody can push their arm down. The other arm is pushing up. Try it.
Yeah.
Breathe in. Satanama. Then cross over to the left side. Your right arm is pushing up and your left arm is pushing it down. You're going to feel that in the shoulders, in the mid-back. Is that true?
Yes.
Right. So if you stay here and you inhale, and then I can yum it out from the heart chakra and use your locks. Yum. And when you're doing sounds, you'll tend to take longer because we're always in a hurry. What's the next thing? What's the next thing? This really helps you to just quiet the mind and tame the breath as well. Because, when you're doing a sound, it feels good. Right. That sound feels really good. You're going to go as long as you can, because with those meridian stretches, he does say to take your time, go as long as you can. And you could do 3 or 4 rounds on one side, 3 or 4 rounds on the other side. But if you only did 1 round, you've already made a deposit.
Right. And one thing in terms of when you're looking at the physiology, they found that if you focus on a body part and a sensation, it switches you off from that default mode network to a task-specific network. And that activates the parasympathetic response.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's a lot of times when you're doing meditations or yoga, you're asked to focus on a body part, focus on the sensation, and that actually switches your nervous system to that relaxation state.
Right, and I think part of it is because those 60 to 70,000 thoughts that are in the unconscious are already there. You've always got thoughts, but then all of a sudden your consciousness is saying, wait, stop, and do this. And it's like a little bratty child, kind of shuts
quiet
up
down.
there. Yeah, quiet down. And then next thing you know, you're like, wow, I feel really, really good. I'm not worried about that thing that I've been worrying about all day. Because you're just changing the program. But we've been taught change is fearsome. Okay, people are afraid of change. And I'm like, you're not here to climb the highest mountain. You're just here to do one thing different. One different, coming from that place of love, that highest vibration. Boom, it adds up, it adds up, it adds up. And then next thing you know, it's like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna really choose my thoughts. What's giving me life? Because there's no neutral thoughts. It's giving you life or it's taking it away. So which one is it gonna be? And it could have been that the way you were brought up, maybe your parents, so they only teach you what they know, and maybe they weren't that kind, or whoever taught you something, and then you started to believe that. We're like, wait a minute, maybe that's not true. And then we start to change our belief systems, and then our life starts to change. Everything changes. It could be no other way, like Einstein said, right?
Right.
Everything is frequency.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that's a take-home message, is we need to connect back with our bodies, know how energy and frequency affects our health, and learn practices for us to be able to regulate our emotions and up-level and increase our vibration.
Absolutely, because a lot of people, they know they have to work out. You have to work out, but that's just the physical. How are you mentally and emotionally fit? That is just as important, because if you're not emotionally fit, your body's going to hurt. And if you're not breathing right, every cell is going to be affected. So learning how to breathe, learning how to take charge of your thoughts, and to connect the dots. Because what fires together, wires together.
Yes, that's the Hebs theory.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Joe Dispenza talks about that all the time.
Yeah, firing and wiring.
Yeah.
Yes. And the three
fires
amigos.
together, wires together.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So, and yeah, there's meridian stretches for the low back. There's ones for your hips. There's one for, and you know, and again, oh, you're working the endocrine system, or you're working the kidneys, you're working this. We incorporate sounds. We incorporate the hand gestures. We incorporate visualization. It's a beautiful thing. And then you know what? You learn to trust yourself. You learn to know that, wow, it is about me, and it's not ego.
Yeah. But it doesn't mean that you should get rid of the ego, because the ego is there for a reason.
For sure.
And we have to respect that and work with the ego.
Absolutely.
So,
but who's in charge, though?
Exactly.
Higher self?
I always hear, I've heard of this sort of analogy with the ego. The ego is like your dog. You take the dog for a walk, and sometimes the dog poops and goes in different places that shouldn't, and you have to sort of train that dog to poop in the right places, and to respect other people.
Yeah.
So it's sort of that relationship with, okay, I love that I have an ego for protection, but I have to always work with that ego and make sure that it doesn't take over my life and creates problems and challenges for me.
And I think sometimes, you know, with the ego, we're separating. You know, it causes separation if we're too much in our ego.
It's a left brain function. It's about separation, identification, categorization.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas when you connect with the divinity and your soul, it's about looking at the big picture, seeing the connections with everything and everyone, and it's that oneness.
Exactly. So why do we have to separate? You know, like people separate with religion and stuff like that. It's like we're all in this together, and can we respect each other if it's coming from a place of love? Because, you know, we've created these words, and it's just an English word, you know, and it's like if I was speaking Sanskrit or Spanish or French or any language, it's just a language, but what does the word mean? And, you know, coming back to that communication is huge, that we understand, again, the truth that you're no different than me. I am you. We are one. That's what the namaste is. It's like the light and love in me bow to the light and love in you. We are one. You know, we see each other. It's not just, hey, namaste, or people, you know, hey, how are you? It's like, no, I bow to you. I see you. I see you. And you see that when you look at people. Right. You can see spirit right through their eyes. You know, and you don't have to go anywhere to feel that. You don't have to be in anywhere. Anywhere that you are, you can be that.
Right. And they always say that your eyes are the window to the soul.
Yeah. Oh,
so,
yeah.
And many times these days that we deflect eye gaze with other people because we don't feel comfortable and we feel vulnerable. But truly, when we're able to connect to each other's souls, we're able to heal and help others heal.
You know, some of the heart openers, you know, if somebody couldn't get on the floor and do like the cobra and things like that, you could stand in a doorway and just open up. Right. And then when you're breathing in, you know, God's love or however you want to identify to it, and you know you deserve it, it's a game changer, because you see people that, you know, when they're separating themselves, they go here and they close themselves up. Well, you can't breathe right, your organs can't work right. You're actually, you know, harming yourself in a sense, and you're just separating. So you see that too as people get older, if they're not breathing right or they're not using some of these muscles, that they're gonna collapse. They're not gonna be sitting right, and then you're gonna, you know, you can't walk, you don't move, there's less life. There's just left life. Breathe in life. Open up. But it leaves you vulnerable thinking about, I'm just gonna open up and trust, because people don't know who to trust.
Right.
But if you went inside and trusted and to know the truth of who you are the universe.
Then you're able to surrender easier. Right. So that's definitely an easy practice for people to take on in terms of daily practice, is even getting up in the morning and opening up your arms and looking up to the sky and opening up to the sun. And even just that position will help people, one, activate their endocrine system, connect with the sun, but activate that part of the brain that tells their body that it's safe, it's okay, repair, regenerate, create. Yeah.
100%. And also, and that gratitude, if you wake up with gratitude, you're already on the right path. So thank you for this day. Thank you for the sun. Thank you for my house. Thank you for and it goes on and on and on. That's a huge way to heal too.
Yes. Very powerful tool.
Yes.
Gratitude.
Yeah, affirmations, your gratitude, your forgiveness prayers, your hand gestures, the mudras, your mantras, your meridian stretches, the postures, the sounds. I mean, there's so many tools that we can have, and it doesn't even cost anything.
Right.
You don't even have to spend a bunch of money for that.
That's the thing.
That's
the thing I love about Kundalini, because it incorporates all of the above.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I'm hoping that this healing modality and these practices will be more available to more people here on Earth.
Absolutely. And one of my favorite quotes is, "Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens." And this is a journey within. And I can't do that journey for you. It's on you. And you deserve it. So even to hear that, wow, you deserve to be happy and healthy and safe and supported, at peace and free, I mean, that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
You know, and we'll go, Mokshaham, I am free, Anandaham, I am bliss. And it feels so good. You know, you're living it. You're not, you know, you're embodying it. Basically,
Yes.
your entire being is on that frequency. This is a user-friendly way of life that anybody can do. Everybody deserves to be happy, healthy, feeling safe, supported, at peace and free. And you just have to learn the tools. You just got to learn the tools, and we're here, we're available for you. Just reach out.
No, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here and
Thank you.
sharing yourself and your work. And like I said, I'm hoping more people would understand and learn about this. How can they get hold of you?
Well, you can always email me or go to my website. It's Health and Wellness with Lynn at gmail.com or healthandwellnesswithlynn.com. That's
Perfect.
it. Yeah.
Well, I look forward to further collaborations.
Thank you. It's my honor to be here, Nelson. Thank you.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Namaste. Namaste.
Namaste.